doing that just so I kind of know who everybody is, and I'll try as I can to relate things to each of your counties as we go through this. But Dana alluded to this earlier. I wanted to talk through kind of what my role is, because most of you probably knew Todd Watson. He was in the political director role prior to me, but there's been a lot of a change really from what he did to what I will be doing. And I think those of you who attended the last State Central Committee meeting heard me talk about this a little bit, but I want to reinforce it for those of you who weren't there, or maybe those that didn't actually maybe get it all when we were at that last meeting. And so these are the buckets, I like to call it, that I am responsible for. And a lot of the stuff that I'll be doing isn't really built. I'm gonna have to create a lot from scratch and kind of find resources to use to be able to accomplish this. So it'll be a little slow at first to try to build what I need to then be successful. But voter registration is something that we have to start focusing on as a party. The Democrats do it. We need to be doing it to keep pace. I'll talk a lot more about that as we go through today. But candidate recruitment, it won't be me exclusively recruiting. It'll be working with all of you within the counties to then find out strategies of how to find good candidates. Where is a quality candidate? Just because somebody wants to run doesn't mean maybe they have the means to run. So knowing who to choose and how to find those people will be kind of what I focus on, working with everybody on. Candidate development and support. So if you have a candidate that is going to run, we got to know, are they going to be successful? Well, if they use a little coaching and maybe some polishing, maybe they can be successful. So me providing the resources to those candidates, doing some training, some workshops to help them be successful, that's another area I'll focus on. Campaign resource development, me being able to have my experience with the Trump campaign, running school board race, being involved in a congressional race. I've kind of had the background and experience of running some campaigns. So I'm going to use that experience to build out resources and tools. What I'd like to have is, Paul wants to run for office. I give Paul a toolbox and say, here's what you need to run for office. And it's got templates and manuals and guides, whatever it is that he needs to be successful, ranging from maybe even a budget template. So when he files his NADC report and he doesn't get fined by the state for his campaign finance stuff, to maybe directions on how to give a good stump speech to get audience to give you a lot of money. There's lots of things that we can do, but part of that will be what the campaign resource development includes. County party development's what we're doing today. It's me working with all of you to equip you with the skills to be better secretaries, treasurers, vice chairs, chairs, and just to help your county. There's a lot of people who maybe are stagnant, don't know what to do to grow, and I know some counties I've talked with have just a handful of members, even only about 5-6 people, and that's okay, but I want to help you grow to that next level. So candidate recruitment may be something I help that county with. County struggling with fundraising or maybe event planning. That's the stuff I can help that county with so they can be successful. 93 counties, I have to equip the chairs and the leaders. I can't do it for the people, but I can equip them with what they need, and that's really what the goal is. And then lastly, volunteer engagement. We're going to have statewide races in 2026, so the governor is going to be up, Secretary of State, we're going to have the auditor, all those state level races. My goal is to try to find ways to work with the different people running for statewide multi-county offices to get people to go out and door knock, to phone call, volunteer on those campaigns in some way. So finding synergy between all those people. So that's in short what I'll be doing. It sounds very short with 6 little boxes there, but there's a lot that goes into each of those. So I'll be a busy boy. But me and Dana had talked a lot about this. We want to really make sure people understand the main goals of the state and the county party are twofold. Really, for us at the state party, it's providing you, as I alluded to earlier, tools, resources, training to be successful in running your counties and aiding candidates that are running for office. We also want to grow the party. Democrats are always talking about voter registration. We need to be doing the same thing, recruiting just to get people in the party, but also in your county party. We got to grow beyond what we have, and we can't be that group that just wants to keep with the people we're familiar with. We got to expand and get more people in, because the more people you have, it helps with donations, first off, but it also helps with more people that you can have do the work for you and empower them by delegating work off to those individuals. And then lastly, we talk about it a lot, but electing constitutional platform Republicans. We want people that follow the platform as closely as we can, and we're going to try to go find those people and help them run for office. That's really what our job is, and the county emulates that for the most part, but the only difference is they don't really provide the resources and tools to the county since they are the county, but hopefully they can use what they learn and then help the candidates that are running for office. So that's kind of the purpose of what we're going to be doing. So this part's going to be more interactive. I like to use my little stethoscope on my elephant here because I want it to be a county checkup. I want to kind of get an idea of where everybody's at. Dana's going to take some notes for us as we do this, because then this will help me after this meeting to know okay, Paul in his county needs help with XYZ. I'm going to follow up with Paul after this and give him what he needs to be successful in that area. So I want it to be kind of popcorn style. I did write everybody's county out, but it doesn't mean we have to go in that order, and I know not everybody's here. So we'll kind of just popcorn style. It's a brief explanation. How does your county function? And I left that open-ended on purpose because I want you to take it where you want to take it. But any brave volunteers that would want to go first to kind of talk through this one? And it doesn't matter if you're the chair or not, you can still talk. Yeah, go ahead.
Looks like Madison's up first.
Perfect, that worked out.
We're trying to get Ryan out of the sun.
Your dad does call you son, so it makes sense to that.
So, and I probably, I guess what I would say for me is that I came on board as county chair in April, and
Sure.
My involvement was outside voting was probably relatively limited before that
Sure.
point. Marlon could probably help me answer some of these questions because he's part of a core group of people that are wonderfully involved in our county
Sure.
and attend to everything and help me out. So, so I guess what was the first question? Now I've started.
How does your county party function?
How does it
And that
function?
can be really open-ended. I left it that way on purpose, so you can take it where you feel like it's important to talk about.
So we have an executive committee with, there are 4 members. So
Okay.
myself, the vice chair, his name is Schuyler. Then the treasurer is a man by the name of Patrick Gerhardt, and then Megan Eckert, who's a realtor in town and a businesswoman. She's the secretary of the party. And then we have the committee man and committee woman. That's John Dinkle, who's a longtime and wonderful man, great Republican, and then Diane Becker serve those roles. And then we have a central committee that has met since I assumed office one time. We were supposed to have a meeting in January, but that didn't happen. Marlon's a part of that central committee and does a great job for us. Marlon has volunteered to go down to the state central committee meetings. As he's appeared for Diane Becker twice, one time. Okay. Rich Riley is another member of the central committee that does a wonderful job of volunteering and stepping up to do things. Tony Hofler is another member. She's not a central committee member, but she's a wonderful volunteer and shows up to everything. We have monthly meetings, monthly lunch meetings that occur on the 3rd Wednesday of the month. We have pretty good attendance, I would say. Anywhere between 20 and 40 people will come.
Awesome.
Was that sound about right?
Yes, you join speakers, government representatives.
We had we had a meeting this past week. We went to the new Salvation Army facility in town and toured that. We've had lots of really great speakers over time. When the pro-life legislative or the constitutional amendments were on the ballot, we had lots of good speakers on those issues. And Senator Fisher has come and spoke, as Representative Flood. So, or Congressman Flood, I'm sorry. So that's kind of in a nutshell how we operate.
Some of us on a committee are working on some modifications to the Constitution.
Yes. I tapped Marlon and then an attorney friend of mine, Mark Alvin, who's also very active to do some amendments to our Constitution. There were some issues that came up with endorsements and varying interpretations of the Constitution in terms of how endorsements work that came up in the last election cycle. So we're going to try to smooth some of those things out and make it a little more straightforward.
And how many people are on your county central committee currently? Do you know?
19.
Well, 19 plus the executive committee, so it's up 25 to 30.
Awesome. You guys meet in Norfolk usually, or where do you?
Yes, Black Cow Fat Pig on the it's a lunchtime meeting.
Awesome.
There's been some talk of doing some evening meetings to accommodate there's some folks
Other
that
schedules.
can't make it at lunch. We haven't made that change yet, but that's something that I would like to do. In fact, the night I was elected at the county convention, that was one of the first things that somebody said to me is, can we move some of the meetings to the evening time? So
Great. If you have any questions about the Constitution, let me know. I'm happy to help.
thank you.
So, all right. Who else wants to go? And even if somebody spoke from your county, we can have multiple people talk. So, Margo?
Stanton. So Stanton County is an itty-bitty county. We have less than 6,000 people in the entire county.
Okay.
And not quite 3,000 registered Republicans. So I found that out the other day. Anyway, I would say that our party is basically just getting started.
Sure.
I came on as chairman at the last election cycle. and I've been vice chair before that.
Sure.
Our chair was very involved in his businesses and lots of other things. He sat on various boards, and I think that the Republican Party kind of fell to the back because
Sure.
we were only having meetings when it was time for a county convention, you know, to elect officers or whatever. So the party right now consists of a core of about 5. That's me, Trina, Zach, Roy, Zach.
So recruitment.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, so
Sounds
recruitment
good.
is a big deal for us. We've had, I think since last summer, we've had two meetings, I think, 2 or maybe 3. I wanted to have one like every, you know, like 1 a quarter at least.
Sure.
I fell and broke my leg here a while back, and it has really sidelined me.
Sure.
We're hoping to put our next one in April very soon after the SCC meeting, because we want to be able to tell people what's going on, and I think at that point we'll be ready to implement a whole lot of the good stuff we hear
Great.
here, because we don't really, you know, know how to go about getting people there. We'd hold meetings, and it was
Yeah.
the same 5 to 10 people that would show up, plus the speaker. So you
Sure.
know, so we really want to get some things going. I'm hoping for great things from this meeting.
Great. Awesome.
And she has somebody who, I only got recruited last year, I'm not even a politician.
That's
No,
good.
Moved
sorry.
here from Arizona, and
Yeah.
almost 3 years ago, and I
Wow.
bull with her husband, and I heard about politics, and I go, how do you find out about this stuff? And COVID was a big issue.
Oh, sure.
So she has somebody who knows nothing, but with her breaking her leg, I've taken over her meetings, so
Done
I'm
great.
learning a lot.
Thank you.
A lot more than I ever thought I would.
Awesome.
Yeah.
She's been to the last 2 SCC meetings for me because I
Great.
couldn't go.
Yep.
And, yeah, it's been wonderful. Roy shows up for everything. He is
Yeah.
such a blessing, so,
Good.
you know, we just really
So she has
looking
2
forward to
good
it.
recruits.
We did.
Good.
we did.
Well, kudos to you for moving from warm to cold, from Arizona to
Well,
Nebraska.
I
That
went
takes a
from
lot of
Michigan to
grit.
Arizona to Nebraska.
Okay, so you've been around a little bit.
Yeah, trust
Okay.
me.
A lot's coordinated between Madison and.
Yeah, we do. Thank you to Madison County. A few of us frequently attend their meetings when we
Sure.
can. They're always excellent meetings. It gives us a chance to network with,
Mhm.
you know, with other folks. Norfolk is our closest large city.
Right.
So even though they're far away for some people, they're pretty close for those of us who live in and around Stanton and Pilgrim and places
Sure.
like that. So
Yeah.
they've been awesome letting us come to their meetings and welcoming us. Well, they just
Great.
treat us like we're part of the crew, so, yeah.
That's good.
It's been really
I
good.
learned something from Madison County, is the little backdoor voting and all this stuff. And I started paying attention, cause you know, typical person like me, I didn't know who the school board people were running. I saw names,
Sure.
I had no idea. I worked for the sheriff's office, and I only dealt with the people that had to deal with my funds. So.
Right.
That's when she was in Arizona. She done work
Yeah,
for me.
not here. And, this year, listening to all the meetings and stuff, what I learned was, we had 2 school board members retire in Stanton County. But nobody knew that.
Hmm.
And the next thing I know, there's 2 people running for this position. I don't know who they were. And I complained to, I happen to live next door to one of the school board members, and I go, well, wait a minute. Aren't we supposed to vote on this stuff? And aren't you supposed to notify people? Well, they're just good people. And I went, oh, that's how Madison got screwed up. Because so-and-so said, they're good people, so we're gonna put them in. Well, I discovered this year, that's what Stanton's been doing.
All this time until.
It's really quiet. I didn't even see it, basically, until the ballot came out, I didn't even see who these people, I have no idea, but I have 4 grandkids in that school system.
Right.
So, that's what I learned.
Awesome. Very good. Who else? Scott?
Well, okay, we set up, we have an executive committee. It's our chairman, vice chairman, committee people, and immediate past chairman. We also have a central committee, which it consists of everyone that was a delegate at our last county convention.
Okay.
So they're automatically on our central committee.
Sure.
And in addition to that, we have another 10 or 12 people that are kind of involved.
Sure.
They probably were delegates in the past, but you know, they still kind of come to the meetings. We do have we meet quarterly, the central committee. If we need to, sometimes we'll have an executive committee meeting in between or something, but
Sure.
Yeah, I haven't had one for a while, so Joe's coming to our meeting in another week, and I'm glad to have him coming, so he's gonna talk to our whole central committee, hopefully get us a little more fired up. We're a little sleepy. I mean, we got people that, you know, are interested, but not really gung-ho.
Mhm.
So hope to get them a little more fired up.
Awesome. Very good. Thank you.
Approximately how many voting members then would you say you have on your county central committee?
There are 26.
Perfect, thank you.
Great. All right, who else?
I'm Roger Kingsley. I know I've met some of you before. I know the Stanton folks. I've rubbed shoulders with them a little bit, so it's good to get to know a few more folks in CD1 here. Like I say, I'm the vice chair. We went through quite a change, you know, when the state, I call it the coup, at the state level when that happened. We had some long time, kind of dyed in the wool, you know, Republican types leading in Cuming County for years. And they were hemming and hawing, oh, they don't like the changes. They don't know if they want to stay or not. So finally we voted them out. And so we got all new leadership starting about 2 years ago. And younger folks. But it's really starting at square one. I mean, we've got, I think, like 5 on our executive committee. We don't have a central committee yet, not one established anyway to speak of. But we're working, we just use at-large members to kind of fill those gaps as best we can. But the word I would use, and I think kind of pigtail on what they've said there in Stanton County, is the party, how do we make the county party relevant? How do we make the candidates want our endorsement?
Sure.
Seek that out, because that doesn't even exist. All right, they have there's no connection. Somebody wants to run for a race, they're just kind of on their own. There's no cooperation. There's no, what can we do? How can we do it? So that's really what I'm here to learn, is how can we make the party relevant at the county level, because it does make a difference. I guess if I've learned anything, just a little story about me. I guess I'm older, and I had retired kind of after COVID, and just all of the what I call beating your head against the wall so many times politically. I just decided I'm just going to be a grandpa, enjoy my grandkids, and you know, I'll let the idiots run in this country just do their idiocy. But I got excited again. I got county chair, couldn't make it to a central committee meeting. Actually, couldn't make it to the state one back almost a year ago, and so I got to go down, and I got excited. I thought, there is a change. There is a real change that's happened at the state level here, and if we don't take advantage of that now, it's going to, over time, it's going to shift right back over to the old Pete Ricketts folks running the state party. And we don't want that. It's in the hands of the people, and it needs to stay there. So we have to. Yeah, that's kind of what got me out of the doldrums. You know, we got to do something. Got to start making a change. And so we're that's what we're looking to do. We've had monthly meetings. About the same 5 people show up for each one. But I keep telling them, you know, the young guy who's Stephen, who's the county chair, he gets really discouraged. I said, well, don't worry about that. Let's keep having them. We have them on the same night. People know what they are.
Yep.
I said, over time, it will build.
Yep.
So that's kind of where we're at. So
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. That's helpful. All right, who else?
Let me center you up, and then I'll step up there so I get on the camera.
Oh,
here
sure.
too.
Oh, you want to center me up?
Yeah.
Make sure it's my good side, Paul.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. Okay.
All right, Paul.
All right.
Your turn. Tag team here.
Yeah. Well, I think this is I just brought my phone, but we're hearing some really good presentations today to get a good flavor of the counties involved. I hope to fill in the gap a little bit for Columbus, since they're not here, but Schuyler is kind of like a suburb of Columbus. And but I'll start off with my involvement started 4 years ago, as I think was probably, I would estimate, a good 20,000 very conservative people. Actually, it was 2021 when the State Board of Education created some health standards that opposed our moral values, and it brought a lot of people out of the woodwork, not people who had been involved before, but those standards were released in early March. By April, there was a Facebook page called Protect Nebraska Children with 11,000 Nebraskans. And so what I saw was God raised up people for a cause. And they were all Republicans. I don't know any Democrats that seemed to care, and they were passionate about it. By August, there were 22,000 members of that Facebook group, and the people who were running it kind of cut it off because they couldn't handle it anymore. But that provided an active base, and I kind of thought the thing would just keep growing, you know. But God doesn't do things that way, you know. He chose certain people out of those 20,000 and put them to work. Some people ran for public offices. The following January and February, I helped Mark Abonkowitz promote a Mind Polluters movie tour around Nebraska. We did over 70 showings hosted by those conservatives from that network. And we had Kurt Penner and the candidates that were running for school board that year. We had them come in and speak at these movie showings. And we, or if they couldn't make it, they would Zoom in. And we recruited, I'm gonna guess, about 100 people to run for public office 2 years ago. And that would have been 2022. So I guess almost, it's 3 years ago. Anyway, I ran for public office too. My wife said, you've asked all these people to run, you better find out what you're asking them to do. So, and then when I went to the state convention that year, Eric Underwood was elected the chairman. And once again, I saw God create a big change. There were, 400 and some delegates there, and I knew over 300 of them just from what God had me doing in January and February that year. But these were people who, they're doing it for their kids, You talk to Margot and she'll tell you that. You talk to our chairwoman, Susan Fetters, she'll tell you that. She did right in front of the governor over the old ballroom over here. She named off all of her kids and grandkids, and that was her speech. So, by the way, Susan is sick, and our vice chairman has company, so I'm kind of taking up the slack here. But because we're all from counties in this area, I'd like to kind of describe the demographics, at least the way I see it. I'm the central committeeman, have been for 3 years for CD 101. It's the first sub-district in the whole state, 101. And but that's Colfax, Cuming, and Stanton counties. We're all small counties. We have a lot in common. But we don't know each other. 3 years ago, we didn't know each other. And Schuyler is like a suburb of Columbus, like I mentioned. Highway 30 keeps us going east and west, and if we go to Norfolk, we go through Columbus. And these three counties are not like Dodge County, Platte County, and Madison County. They're small counties. We've had good conservative leadership, like Roger alluded to, in all three counties for a long time, but they haven't, I'd say two things. They haven't been real active at the county level. They liked to go to the conventions and the central committee meetings, but they really didn't have direction or guidance of, how do you adapt a constitution for your county party? How do you adapt how do you vote in a state central committee or a county central committee that represents everyone, that represents people who speak English and people who speak Spanish and whatever language that they speak in Africa, different countries, all the people who live here down at the south end of the county. And Columbus and Madison has that same challenge. I worked with immigrants a lot about 10, 12, 15 years ago to help them get their citizenship in Norfolk, Columbus, David City, and we got International Rotary Foundation funding to help, you know, people to become citizens who qualified to be citizens, to learn American history and how to be good citizens. But it's tough, but we have to keep on doing it, you know. We have to do that in the Republican Party. And I think I only met you face to face once, Marcella, but and that was yesterday.
Yeah.
But from Facebook, I knew that you're a true patriot, and I knew her brothers. And we just have to keep asking and encouraging one another, whatever the demographics are in our counties, whether we live in a town of 30,000 people or 4,000 or 2,000. But we need to reach in. You know, it's a challenge for me. I called up people all across the north end of the county yesterday who I thought might be interested, or this week, in attending this, even though they're not officers. They haven't been coming to our events, but I've been asking them every time, and I'll just keep on asking. And that's what we have to do, because when we form a central committee, we're going to have to represent everyone, you know, from every corner of the county and every other demographic. And going back to Columbus, we had 4 events, monthly events this summer. Colfax County Republicans did, and we had, you know, both Senate candidates, Republican candidates as guests, and we had Mike Flood, and we had, you know, we reached out to the people who aren't necessarily grassroots, but they're representing us, and we want them to represent. We wanted to get them elected in November, and it was a good opportunity to draw people in, where it's kind of hard when you live in a town where half the people probably don't even speak English. And it spreads farther than that. 94% of the kids in the public schools are the children of immigrants in Schuyler. That's quite a population.
Mm-hmm.
But we just have to keep asking, we have to keep reaching out, and we have to ask, don't just come, be part of it, you know. Run to be on that central committee. I'm seeing young people here who at least they're young to me, who can carry that baton, because the reason our chairwoman isn't here is because she's old and sick and kind of like me.
Oh, she's not that old.
She's older than me. Anyway.
Sticking up for Susan.
No, I'm just saying that we want to hand the baton, we want help, and we want to be able to hand that baton off so you can help others. Anyway, that's we gathered in, we had pretty good crowds for all 4 of those events, and very entertaining events. We got mailing lists, and so we keep contacting those people, and we tried to make them regional because there weren't enough local people who cared. You know, we would have had less than half the size for the events if we wouldn't have included Norfolk and Columbus and Fremont and whatnot, and so that kind of brings the people out, people who care. So anyway,
Thank you.
And Columbus is, I mean, they're right on. They have a great chairman, and from our church, I've had all kinds of participation in parades and stuff. Just people who go to our church in Columbus, but they're not members of the Platte County Republican organization. They need to be.
Awesome. Thanks, Bob.
Can I talk about Seward for
Sure.
just a minute? Also want to add that the Platte County chairman would have been here, but he is studying, he's finishing up finals for his master's degree, and he is in crunch time right now and just totally overwhelmed, so that's why he couldn't come. But I just wanted to share real briefly about Seward County. A couple of, I'm on the 3rd year, so I'm halfway through my 2nd term, and we just had 4 guys at Concordia University that were professors who had poker club once a month, and they were the chair, the vice chair, the secretary, and the treasurer, and they helped with elections, and they filled, they got the people out to work the polls and things, but beyond that, they didn't have organized meetings for outsiders to come. They didn't promote, and so when COVID happened, we had a group called the Seward Patriots that were fighting back over the mask mandates, because we have a Democrat mayor that locked us down right away, and that was just not, Seward wasn't going to have that. So a group of people got together, and so we went to the party and said, hey, we need help, like we want to have meetings. And the guys were like, yeah, we're not really interested in having meetings, but if you want to have meetings, you can take it over. So I always say we had a polite takeover in Seward County, and my past chairman is still a very close friend and advisor, very smart professor from Concordia, but we ended up choosing, upon Eric Underwood's advice, to form our county central committee by having 3 representatives from each congressional district. I'm sorry, not congressional, commissioner district. And we have 5. So we ended up with 15 people on our elected by our delegates to our county central committee, plus our 4 exec members gives us a county central committee of 9 people. And I recently discovered that unintentionally, those 3 folks from each commissioner district ended up representing all but 4 of our voting precincts for the county. So I thought that was super cool because, like we're a county, it's a rural county, and we have Seward and Milford, but then everybody else is very rural and more villages, right? And so I was very proud to know that we had this kind of equal representation across the county just by utilizing that strategy of electing 3 people in each commissioner district. So guess what? Every single one of those people is a precinct captain now. They might not originally signed up for that, but they're going to be our precinct captains, and we're eager to fill those last 4 slots. So anyway, I wanted to just share the structure of that and kind of how it went down, and I'll be sharing a little more later about how we grew and how we even came to have 50 delegates come to our convention to elect all those folks. So that's the Seward story.
Great, awesome. Go ahead.
So I'm not part of the county central committee for Butler, but I know what's going on. My dad's my dad is one of the members. I would say that Butler County is in its fledgling stage. I think 2020 was a big wake-up call. We had the mayor of David City have a mask mandate, and we were like, no, we don't want that. So before 2020, I don't know what the structure was like. I know that there wasn't a lot. In 24, we were able to fully fill out our central committee for the first time. Our structure is, we have county, not commissioners, supervisors. We have county supervisors, so they each have their own district. And each district has 1 central committee member. So we have 7 districts, 7 central committee members, and then we have 4 officers. So in total, 11. Yeah. And so for the first time last year, we were able to fully fill it out. So you can kind of see we're just getting started. We for this 24 election was the first time Butler County never really had debates. We never hosted anything like that. We have a school board that no one knows what's going on, and they are not the best. We get taxed a lot because they don't care. Our county supervisors get paid more than, overall than every county around us, including Platte, which we are very small, so they get paid $35,000 for 7, whereas a lot of your other counties, I was doing research, 1 county gets paid $38,000 with 3. So we have a lot of stuff that we want to change. We're trying to, this is good because we're trying to get, for 24, we weren't really prepared. We didn't get a lot of people running. So there wasn't a lot of competition for these already incumbents that we don't necessarily agree with. So this upcoming election, we're kind of really focusing on, we need to get people going. We need to get candidates running for these positions. I've recruited, other people have recruited. So far we have 4 supervisory districts up. We've gotten all 4. We've gotten candidates for them. School board is huge. We need candidates for that. We're still trying to find those. So yeah, I would say we're not in our we're not in our baby stage, but we're in like the teenager stage of a county party. We're just starting out. We're still trying to get funding. We're still, raise money. So, yeah, that's what I'd say.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Anybody else? All right. Well, I know this part's going to be a little slower because I want it to be where we can all share and kind of talk. And I think it's helpful to hear how one county's doing something or maybe where they're struggling, because then you're not feeling you're alone. And also, we'll actually switch gears later on throughout today and talk more about how you can take actionable steps to then start doing things in your county. But this part's just going to be a little bit more discussion based. But as you guys were talking, I took a few notes, and some common themes. Recruitment really comes up, that people want resources and some tools to help get more people involved, but just because you get people involved doesn't mean they stay. So we have to keep them motivated. And I'm hearing that common theme, and how we keep people understanding why it's important to be involved. Making meetings fun and meaningful. And then the other one I heard a lot was finding candidates, but also helping the community to know more about those candidates. I know Margot mentioned that a lot, where people run, but we don't know who they are and what they believe. So those are some common themes that, as I was hearing everybody talk, where people are at, which is a good thing. And so that's really helpful for me to know where everybody is, so we can start to build resources, tools, workshops, things to help with those areas. So I appreciate everybody sharing and being detailed on those items. So we're gonna keep going then, and these don't have to be super detailed, because probably a lot of the things you talked about in the last question related to this, but if anybody wants to add anything, I think it's important to recognize where everybody's strong, and it can help other people know what maybe they could do to make their county strong. So feel free, and once again, popcorn style, it doesn't have to go in this order, but what makes your guys' county strong, or something that you're proud of, I guess?
I think in Seward,
Oh,
I think in Seward County, that one of our strengths is how we've been able to leverage social media to reach the folks. That would be
Sure.
one thing we're kind of proud of.
awesome. Margot?
Just that our county is at least 80% red, so hey.
80, so you said 80?
It helps.
That's good.
80%, gotta love that.
Good,
It
good.
does, yeah, it's a
We only
strength.
have one marijuana water.
Yeah.
That's funny. What about Madison County?
I think participation,
Just having a big central committee and people involved?
well, and just people that come to meetings.
Okay, good, awesome.
And the county convention had over 200
Oh, wow.
registered delegates.
That's
Yeah.
a lot of people. That's good, that's good, awesome. All right, what about you guys over here?
Well, I'm gonna make comment that I'm commander at the Legion, and we do a parade in town, and we host a, attractive way of getting candidates to that parade, and
Sure.
and they get to talk before the parade.
Oh, awesome.
It's a situation that, being commander of the Legion, we're not supposed to be politically one party or another. And it's a real sensitive subject, but the Democratic part of Colfax County doesn't feel welcome there. So it's kind of uncomfortable for me, but I enjoy what Paul and Susan do for the GOP in Colfax County.
Awesome, very good. Who else?
In Cuming County, it's a strength, but it's also a weakness. I'm gonna say it's our youth. It's our, we got some real young leadership.
Inexperience maybe is a good way to phrase it.
That, yes, and, but I also think that's good. I think it's certainly gonna open us up. We don't have a large Hispanic, contingent, but I guess it's around 20-30%
Okay.
throughout the county. I'm trying to think, Cuming County is about 10,000, West Point's a third of that. But it is a very well-established conservative county. There's some very wealthy folks in Cuming County, and do their own hard work. And so it's what we've got. Well, I guess for us, just to put it out there, we've got to break into that conservative Catholic community that's got a real footprint in everything. They make all the decisions for Cuming County.
Yeah.
We're kind of on the outside. We're on the perimeter of that. Somehow we need to break into that.
Sure.
Because that would open up that county like you wouldn't believe.
Yep. Something you alluded to that I'm going to jump in and add something here that's kind of been said a few times, there's a really big need for connecting with coalitions. And what I mean is there's lots of different types of coalitions, faith-based, but ethnic-based. That's something I am finding really quickly. I pulled data the other day, and in where I'm at, the part of the county, in Omaha and in Sarpy County, in some of the LDs, there's 45% in that LD that's Hispanic. I mean, we gotta connect with those different ethnic groups, church groups. I mean, that's where I think the Republican Party has not done a very good job compared to Democrats. They build coalitions with groups, and if you can connect with structures that are already built, you can really make an impact. It doesn't always mean we have to create stuff from scratch. It's working with other people that already have things established. And so that's a common theme I'm hearing, not just here, but over in the part of the, Nebraska that I'm from. And so that's really important that you've kind of identified that and know that it's important to do. So thank you. Anybody else?
I'd say for Butler County, it's kind of similar on that. It's like we have a very conservative group, and it's the same thing. It's like a lot of Catholics, and once you can get into that, you really can open up, and you just once you enter into it, we can expand a lot. And I would say for the party itself, we have a lot of good watchdogs. Like, again, I feel like one of the problems right now with kind of Butler County is we don't know. Oh, this is happening. I don't like this, but it's just not brought around. But when you have watchdogs that put stuff out on Facebook and like, yeah, this is happening, and people don't know about it, all of a sudden, like I said, you have a big conservative group there. They don't like it. It's just they don't know about it. So, really getting that information out there, I feel like we're starting to kind of change the atmosphere because we're starting to realize, oh yeah, we don't want this to happen.
Sure, absolutely, that's great. Who else?
I'd say Dodge County's strength is just our core group. I mean, we've been there for years. We're very loyal to the party, very, very strong. I mean, our greatest weakness is we have this core group that just doesn't do anything, and we need to we need to get motivated.
So your longevity is your strength.
And our weakness.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Anybody else?
I think Colfax and Stanton are the only two left. Or wait,
In Colfax went, I think. Maybe not.
I think, yeah,
Didn't we have to talk? I'll talk again.
this is a strength. What do you?
Unless, Paul, you want to add anything
Stanton
else?
and Colfax.
Oh, we said we were red.
Oh, that's right, that's right.
I'll let you shoot.
I get to be camera
You don't
guy
have
for a
to
little
set
bit.
it up.
Well, we only show up when it's time to vote.
Well, I think that Colfax County is, I think I already described our weaknesses, and those same weaknesses are strengths. It's just a matter of tapping into them. Catholic churches, yeah, Schuyler's very Catholic, and but most of the Catholics in Schuyler, I think, who are not Hispanic, go to Columbus church.
Sure.
So now we get back to Schuyler being a suburb of Columbus, and it's a county party. It's not a town party. So, I think when I was running for county commissioner 3 years ago, I put together a Colfax County yesterday, today, and tomorrow Facebook page, and I thought it would be a good way to pull in people from the north end of the county with the people from the south end, and give us some communication. It's taken that long to build it up to about 700 people now, but those platforms are good. They take time to develop, but I think that can be a strength because you build relationships with that. That might be how I got acquainted with Marcella, probably through Facebook for sure. And so, they say that don't try to build your party on social media, but it's a tool. And especially in a situation where, it's as far for me to go to Lee as it is for me to go to Fremont,
Yeah.
in my own county. So,
Great.
yeah, but it's easier to get to Fremont, 4-lane highway.
Absolutely. All right. Anybody else?
I have a question.
Sure.